Welcome to your IELTS listening practice from Spinta.org. This is a mini-test designed to help you practice a specific section of the exam and improve your confidence. The recording will be played one time only, just like in the official test. Let's begin.
Good morning. Today in our ecology module, we will be discussing the fascinating concept of, quote, keystone species. Now, the name itself is an analogy. Think of a Roman stone arch. The arch is held together by one single stone at the very top, the keystone. Even though it's just one stone among many, it bears the critical load. If you remove it, the entire arch collapses. A keystone species is the biological equivalent. A plant or animal that has a disproportionately large effect on its natural environment relative to its abundance. Let's look at some classic examples. A famous case is the sea otter in the kelp forests of the North Pacific coast of America. Sea otters are predators, and one of their favorite foods is the sea urchin. Sea urchins, in turn, are herbivores that graze voraciously on kelp. Without the otters to control their population, the urchin numbers explode. They form vast armies that can mow down entire forests of kelp, creating what are called urchin barrens. The otter's role in controlling the urchins is vital for preventing the destruction of the kelp forests, which are a critical habitat for hundreds of other species, from fish to seals. Another wonderful example is the beaver. Beavers are famous ecosystem engineers. By felling trees and building dams on rivers, they fundamentally transform the landscape. They turn fast-flowing streams into a series of ponds, marshes, and wetlands. These new environments provide a rich and diverse habitat for an enormous variety of wildlife, from fish, frogs, and turtles to birds and insects that couldn't survive in the original river. In the African savanna, the African elephant plays a similar, though perhaps more destructive-looking role. Elephants are messy eaters. They push over mature trees to get to the leaves, and they consume vast quantities of young tree seedlings. This might sound purely destructive, but this behavior is crucial for maintaining the open grassland. Without elephants, the savanna would slowly but surely transform into a dense woodland, an environment which would not support the huge herds of grazing animals like wildebeest and zebra that are so characteristic of that ecosystem. In North America, an often overlooked keystone is the prairie dog. These small rodents are vital to the health of the grasslands. Their extensive burrow systems, which can cover huge areas, create shelter for many other animals, like black-footed ferrets, snakes, and burrowing owls. And their constant digging activity aerates the soil, improving its quality, water penetration, and allowing a greater diversity of native plants to grow. Finally, let's talk about the very species that inspired the term in the first place, the sea star, Pisaster ocratius. In the rocky intertidal zones of the Pacific coast of North America, this sea star is a key predator. It may not seem that important, but it feeds on mussels. Without the sea star, the mussels, which are very aggressive competitors, completely take over, covering the rocks and crowding out all other species like barnacles and algae. The sea star's predation keeps the mussels in check, allowing many other species to thrive. The term was coined by Professor Robert Payne in the 1960s, following his now famous experiments on the coast of Washington State. He physically removed all the sea stars from a patch of shoreline and observed what happened. The results were dramatic and fast. The number of other species in that area plummeted from 15 down to just one, the mussel. His work clearly and elegantly showed how the sea star's removal led to a collapse in biodiversity. So it's important to understand that a keystone species isn't necessarily the most numerous species in an ecosystem. It's not about abundance, it's about function and leverage. A species' keystone status is defined by its impact relative to its abundance. An elephant is large, but there aren't that many of them compared to, say, grasses. Their huge impact is what matters. This concept has huge implications for conservation, but it can be very difficult to put into practice. Reintroducing a keystone species, particularly a top predator like a wolf or a bear, is often highly controversial from a social and political standpoint. This is because it can create conflict with human interests. For example, reintroducing wolves might be an ecological triumph, but it is often strongly opposed by ranchers and farmers who are worried about the safety of their livestock. Despite this, there have been major successes that have proven the concept. The reintroduction of gray wolves to Yellowstone National Park in the United States in the 1990s is a textbook example. The wolves controlled the large elk population, which had overgrazed the park. This allowed willow and aspen trees to recover along the riverbanks. This, in turn, stabilized the riverbanks and brought back beavers, whose dams created new habitats for birds and fish. It's a fantastic illustration of a successful ecosystem restoration project, a process known as a trophic cascade. In conclusion, the keystone species concept is a vital tool for conservationists. It teaches us that to save a habitat, we don't necessarily have to manage every single species within it. Sometimes, the most effective and efficient strategy is to focus our efforts on one critical component, the keystone. The central point is that by protecting one key species, we can generate enormous benefits for an entire ecosystem.
You have now completed the practice test. When you are ready for a full exam experience, visit us at Spinta.org. There you will find complete mock tests for all 4 skills: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Our platform provides instant AI feedback for your speaking and writing tasks, along with an accurate prediction of your band score. Take control of your preparation at Spinta.org.